All right, I think we're live. What's happening, Fish and Friends? As always, thank you all for joining. Make sure we're working first. Anybody? Let me know in the comments that we're working. I don't want to be talking for an hour and it's not working.
I see it.
Let's see. I see a bunch of people in here. I see live. All right, what is happening, Fish and Friends? Welcome to another live. I am joined tonight by a couple cool cats, of course. Randizzle, the man, the myth, the legend. Randall, what do you know?
Hola. Nothing. I need to get out and fish, man. It just hasn't been. Dude, we got tons of rain last night. Did you get any?
We got rain. Yep. I wouldn't say a ton, but yeah, we got rain.
I feel like it rained starting at like 11:30, 12 o'clock and probably went until 3 or 4 in the morning. I remember waking up at one point in time and I'm still hearing rain. So
yeah, we need like torrential rains to catch us up to what we need to be.
Right.
Also, Rich Hellabass in the house. How are you, sir?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing good. I didn't go fishing today, so I feel a little.
Oh, you didn't?
Feel a little awkward and naked. I installed a 360 on my boat today.
Oh, yeah.
Boat. But tomorrow we're gonna test it.
Okay, well, Mr. Fancy Pants. So tonight we are talking, and this was kind of something I just thought off the cuff. I was at my grandpa's farm today, so I also didn't do any fishing, hanging out. But I thought, let's talk about overrated lures, rigs, and gear. I'm sure we'll kind of ruffle some feathers with this, but that's okay because fishing is totally, a preference deal, right? A matter of opinion on a lot of this stuff. So one thing that, and actually this is something that Randall and I were just talking about. We can even go. To me, this fits in the same realm as overrated, and I guess they're kind of two different things. But gear that used to be popular that kind of like fell off, or like lure or rig or whatever, and then like it kind of came back because I feel like you hear these people saying like, "Oh, have you tried this? Like, it's the newest cool thing." It's like, dude, I was throwing that back with my old man, 20 years ago. So it kind of makes me chuckle. I don't want to say it's necessarily overrated, but even some of the lures like that you see at iCast, it's like, man, that's like a rendition of lure that I used to throw back in the day, so.
Fat Boy's already starting out in a bad way, man. Mend it being overrated. Come on, dude.
Yeah, we're trying to get that Randizzle Mend It sponsorship. Don't be saying that. Okay, so let's see. Where should we start? I'm going to say, actually, something that Randy and I both talked about was Tequila Sunrise. So the color worm, specifically Tequila Sunrise, back in the day, like it used to be the deal. My dad and his buddy Joe, like there was a few lakes around here where you could literally crush fish on Tequila Sunrise. I should have grabbed one for sure.
I was going to say, I could probably find some if you give me a second. You keep talking.
I've got some over in my tackle box. Rich is going to maybe go find some, but it's like this purplish maroon with like black on it, and it was kind of swirled through. Like different companies had different looks, but dude, so back in the day, it used to crush.
Was it that color, or I thought it was more of like a magenta, like a pinky, almost purple, within like a purple or black color swirled or opposite side.
Yep.
Okay.
To me, that's like a purpley. I guess you could say pinky. I don't know. But anyway, I've been throwing it more just because I fell into the same cycle of I tried other things and like you just kind of forget about some of that stuff. And it's funny because the more I've talked about it on my channel, I don't know how many people I've had slide into my DMs on Instagram and share pictures and say, "Dude, the Tequila Sunrise does work." A dude just caught his PB on a Tequila Sunrise. I'm like, yes. Randy and I were talking about it before. I'm like, you even see companies bringing that back. Strike King brought back, like in the Rage stuff. I bought a bunch of the Rage Craws, I think a couple bugs, and something else, and that Tequila Sunrise Orange Flake. You see other companies coming out with like worms, and some of them have had them. Like Culprit always had a Tequila Sunrise. Berkeley always had, like, that was Dad's thing to throw, was like 7 or 8 inch, whatever, the Berkeley power worms, the power bait worms. I can grab one here, Rich. I've got some. Actually, I've got some hanging up on my wall.
Bins. Couldn't find my worm bin.
That's all right. I'll grab some.
I've got like power worms, like big bags of tequila.
That's what I was saying. Back in the day, dude, those power worms that was it. Brian Robinson. No, I am not talking red shad. In fact,
they were similar.
They are similar. I got on the red shad kick. I'm like, oh my gosh, because it was always Randy and I do this. I'm sure Rich, you do this with some of your buddies, but like Dad and Joe would be throwing the tequila sunrise worm, and they'd be catching stuff. And I always wanted to do something different. Like I wanted to find the next like new color, and I got into this red shad kick where I caught a couple really good fish on red shad worm, and then I tried for so long to keep beating Dad with it, and it didn't happen. Like a green pumpkin. Yeah, the old motor oil, Michael Bond. Yeah, for sure. That was an old color that we used to throw the hell out of. You never hear people talk about motor oil now. What is it? I can't
motor
see.
Oil power worm right there.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Dude, back in the day.
These are little mini 4-inch finesse. Like these were super popular. To a little 8th ounce, 16th ounce jig worm. It's almost like the precursor to the Ned rig.
I see Baitman in here. He said overrated equals whatever Hellabass is using.
Whoa.
Shots fired. Mr. Twister Spinner with a where'd it go? Mr. Twister Spinner with a power grub. Man, grubs? I don't think grubs have lost it. Like I would say in bass fishing, yeah, actually, I mean, me and Dad used to throw like 3-4-inch grubs all the time. I think now there's just so many things that do what a grub can do better. I feel like is kind of why you get over into that. Yeah.
Little power grub, zipper grub.
That's cool.
The pulse worm. They were called the pulse worms.
Yeah, I know back in the day I used to, like on a smaller swim or a spinner bait without like a stinger hook on it, I'd throw that on the back of it. Granted, it had to be a pretty short because all I had is your bait shop, go in, buy a pack of 50 and like a little plastic like Ziploc baggie. Like
I'll bring up Tackle Warehouse here because there's some iCast ones. I'll let somebody else. Mr. Dizzle or Rich, do you have a lure, a rig, piece of gear, anything that you think lately is just kind of overrated? Anything on that line?
I think bluegill shaped swim baits. Like like that new Berkeley, and they ripped off a jet. Like I don't catch many fish on like the bluegill profile swim baits. I feel like those bait fish shaped swim baits are just better. I don't know. I think the hype around the bluegill.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab visual aids here.
I think that's something that can be definitely overrated.
Yeah, I've just never felt confident in using them to begin with. So I've never really. That's another one of those. I remember, I don't know who it was. Somebody on Instagram made a comment about what was it? A Sabile frog that has a single hook versus the double hook. So hollow body plastic frog, and it's almost on like a swim bait hook. So it's weighted on the bottom right there. And, Debo commented on it first saying, oh, I had given him one of those. And, I have a couple in my frog box, but I've never really thrown those before. So I don't know if it's a case of I've never really given those bluegill swim baits like the actual opportunity or the chance that they need. Or
pivot frog is what you're talking about. D. Durkin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've just never given them, the opportunity. I may have tied one on and tried to throw it before, but I'm like, this is never going to catch anything. This is dumb. Why am I doing this type of thing? Versus, if I go out with a jig, I'm like, yep, I'm going to catch something. Yeah.
There's your tequila sunrise, kind of that purplish. I called it maroon. I guess you're right. Yeah, more of like a pinkish, I guess you'd say, with that like kind of iridescent hue to it. I don't know, just a cool, weird color, kind of a black and purple. And I don't know if that's what honestly spawned. Now that I say that, I wonder if that's what spawned my my addiction for black and purple, because I feel like black and purple does amazing for me. And then this is red shad, and I could have just brought these up on Tackle Warehouse, but you can see how it's more of like a deeper red with black. This has like green flake in it or something. Yeah, red shad glitter green, but subtle difference. And then Randy was talking about, and this is actually another one that I wanted to bring up, which is why I was gonna grab the Tackle Warehouse thing here. It was one of the new soft plastics, I think it was under worms and miscellaneous. And I actually wanted to get these to try for some of these. So Spro calls it their double tail trailer. I thought it would look cool as like a chatterbait trailer. Let me see if I can remember how to do this.
Kind of like a menace.
Yeah, no, those things I really want to try as well. Those things look actually cool.
The menace?
No, the what do they call them? Oh, we'll look here in a second. How do I share my screen? Oh, you have to hit share. Share screen.
Yeah.
Should have let Rich run all this. He's good with this stuff. Okay, am I on? We're on. Okay. So this thing, I had people asking me about this one. So this kind of double-tailed thing, which actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, so that's like a God, what were they? They were the grub.
Little split-tail spinnerbait trailers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And kind of this thing. So it's almost like a mix of these two. But I had somebody message me the other day and be like, oh, dude, have you seen these? These would be great on like a chatterbait. And I asked him if he had ever thrown like the old spinnerbait trailers that were essentially the same thing. Like every trailer, he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I sent him a picture. He was mind blown.
The real OG chatterbaits from Rad Lures, that what they had was those little twin tail things.
Yeah, one of these things. So like back in the day when Randy was talking about throwing spinnerbaits, I either threw on one of these little guys, and I couldn't even tell you. There also used to be white ones with like red tips. I want to say Mans made them. Don't quote me on that. Or a Mans auger tail worm. Those guys, those were the two things that I threw on spinnerbaits. And he's like, nobody throws a curly tail like worm on, a spinnerbait now, right? Paddle tail, or even just fishing it naked. But I feel like that was a big thing back in the day. Anyway, there's my fun trip down memory lane. Oh, and there's a white auger tail. These things were so cool. Mans, loved Mans.
Can I just say that maybe having to have a trailer or some sort of plastic on your moving baits is kind of overrated, or is it? Is it not?
It depends. I would say it depends. I mean, like I feel a trailer on something like a swim jig is a must. Like I would never go out and just swim a jig with nothing on it. I feel like that's like half of the thing.
What about a chatterbait?
I feel like a chatterbait, you got to. What do you guys say?
I don't know if you have to, but I always do.
I know I started out just like that cut tail, whatever you called it. When Chatterbait used to come out with those, or when they first came out at least, they gave you that little white one or whatever color that matched, that you would throw it on there, and I would lose that thing right away, or it would like gum up and like get stuck into something else, and I'd just yank it off there and I would just throw a chatterbait and I would catch fish. So I'm like, just thinking back on it, I'm like, okay, well maybe I don't need that. And just like a spinnerbait, I don't necessarily need a trailer on a spinnerbait, or a stinger hook is a different type of category itself, but maybe not a trailer on that too. So I don't know, maybe I'm getting too deep into the I gotta customize every single bait to make it a little bit different than anybody else that's ever thrown a bait ever has to be able to catch any of these fish, when realistically I just need to huck it and wind it back.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I rarely throw trailers on spinnerbaits. There's definitely a time and a place where you want to bulk up and move more water, but I don't feel compelled to always throw a trailer on a spinnerbait. Chatterbait,
that was kind of maybe a bad example on the spinnerbait.
Chatterbaits, I always like to have a trailer, but I think what's overrated is trailers with action. Like I want something with little to no action on the back of my chatterbait, and I want the chatterbait to impart that action into my trailer. So I don't want things like boot tails or big crazy legs, chigger craws, and things like that on my chatterbait.
So what do you throw
Less is more. Like a menace scrub, like a fluke style type bait, the Arsenal tactical minnow, which is a boot tail, but it's like, I don't know if I have any handy. It's such a diminutive little tail. It like can't, like the chatterbait overpowers it. But like, I don't want to throw like a Gambler Easy or a Bass Tricks or something like that on the back of my chatterbaits.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, and I talk about that a lot. I like paddle tails on them, but something small that works with the chatterbait doesn't work against it, because you get something real big, and a lot of times it won't even vibrate. Like if you have something back there big enough where it's cutting that vibration, that I guess water movement over it, Like it'll literally just won't consistently vibrate. It'll just keep stopping it. It's too much.
What were you telling me the other day, Debo? I was like, oh, I was fishing a chatterbait, and I was like, it wants to roll or it doesn't want to swim right, and you're like, flip the boot upside down or something because it does something different, or
yeah, you were saying it wanted to keep rising. I said flip it upside down.
Yeah, okay,
or
yeah,
even,
and that
or
kind of
even just cut the flat part of the boot off.
Gotcha.
I've heard people say that too. Let's see.
I know that pinned comment, but
oh yeah, yep. Sorry.
There's a lot of people, including the bait man, that think the wiggle, actually the original wiggle warts, are overrated.
And see, I never I think I had one original wiggle wart. All mine were after the big craze. So I can't tell how much of a difference between, because didn't it they changed to the way they produced the plastic and produced the body, and it had a different sound or pitch, right?
Yeah,
that's what people love.
A lot of spec. It could be the plastic, it could be in the molds. The old ones were more imperfect. They have you can actually see the seams in the baits, which maybe made them hunt a little more. But really, I mean, I think part of it is you get outside the Ozarks, and the wiggle warts definitely overrated. Maybe they're appropriately rated in the Ozarks, but the Spro Rock Collar and the new Curve 55 or whatever it is from 6 Sense, and there's just a lot of baits out there that really fill that gap as well. So, but I got a whole bunch of the old ones in weird colors that I
think they're cool. Yeah, and I don't know. Part of it for me was just a lot of the patterns and design, and because the wiggle wart is one of the only crankbaits you see with a painted bill, and I always ask Dad that. I'm like, how come there's not more lures with painted bills? He's like, I don't know. That's a good point. Why not paint more? And you don't ever really see anybody do that unless it's a wiggle wart. I don't know.
What's the downfall of that?
I don't know.
It runs, or will it affect the depth, or?
No, I mean that has nothing to do. I've painted square bills and stuff with it and caught fish on them.
I honestly, I don't know as if I've ever thrown a wiggle wart before. I know Debo, old Johnny, he kind of swears by the wiggle warts on the river. Yep. And I know he's got an absurd collection of old school wiggle warts in package, just collector's edition type of stuff we'll never throw. But yeah, I've never thrown one. I know they just kind of bounce and hunt a little bit more versus a regular chatterbait, but
man, they had terrible hooks on them back in the day.
Oh man, so many
tiny,
so many.
I'm can't even hook my finger out.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to bounce your finger on hooks. Let's see. Let's try to get to a couple questions. Pike and Tackle said minnows and crawlers equal overrated. Minnows, crawlers. Oh yeah, I bet it was cream lures. I swear Man's made those twin tail trailers as well. I swear I had some that were Man packages. But okay, this was actually one that I had on my list. I know I'm going to get hate on this. I know people are going to flood my comments with "you suck." Big swim baits, overrated or not? Now, okay, I will say I will go out on the limb and say, listen, I'm not. I still haven't caught a fish on a swim bait bigger than 5 inches, like a glide bait, paddle tail, whole different thing. But glide baits or multi-jointed, hard swim baits, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inch, haven't ever caught a fish on one. I haven't done it. And it's do they work better? They started as a West Coast thing, right? The guys were throwing them. But I even see guys kind of around here that have, it's this weird cult following that they get. Once they get into these big baits, they just get rid of everything else. And they they dedicate completely to big swim baits. So is it that I haven't put enough time in and caught that bug? Or is it because, I'm a YouTube creator and for me, it's hard to I don't have every day to fish, right? So if I have a day to burn, it's hard for me to say, listen, I know I might only catch one fish tonight. I'm okay with that. That's hard to do for YouTube. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Maybe it's just me, but I feel that big swim baits in a lot of situations are overrated.
I can't say that I've caught a ton of fish. I've caught a few. When I have got on a bite, it's been pretty sweet. It's a lot of fun. There's something about throwing a swim bait, 6 inches plus, and when you're reeling it and you feel that or that push, that you're just your head instantly thinks 7, 8, not you're just it's a jolt. It's like that adrenaline that like whatever. It's just like that. Oh, I got that fix, right? Like even if you don't hook it, just something that it's like, oh my gosh, that could have been a giant, or it is a giant when you hook up. Like, so I get why it's addicting. But as somebody that fishes tournaments and also tries to create content almost every time I go out, like it's a high risk, high reward thing, and it's not for everybody. And I get why the people that do it like it. If you're fishing for fun, that is a really fun way to fish. But if you've got pressure to produce results for whatever reason, or for you, catching a lot of fish is fun, right?
I'm a numbers
you say like, hey, dude, I go out and catch 10 DEBO dinks and that was a good night, right? Like, or whatever. Like you're happy.
I'm happy with that.
If that's your mindset, big swim baits aren't going to be for you. They work, but it's a different mentality, and you're definitely sacrificing quality for quantity.
Yeah, and so I want to test that more, because there was one day Rand Dizzle and I went out at a place, and I was like, I think I already had enough from like the first half of the day to have a video, and then I'm like, dude, screw it, I'm only going to throw this. I'm only going to throw this big swim bait. I curse us. He's laughing because I curse us all the time when I'm like, dude, okay, like here's the plan. If we can get on a good topwater bite, I can make one video out of that.
We just got to catch 16 fish here and get that done. We'll knock it out. We'll do another video, and then blah, blah, blah.
It'll be awesome. And then like as soon as I say that, we don't get a single bite after that. So we always joke that I curse us. But anyway, there was a day that we went out, and I can totally understand the allure, because I had probably 8 fish, I would say, all follow that swim bait, and I couldn't get any to like actually commit. I had one grab at it, and I didn't get a hook in it. But I had probably 8 fish, and I would say not a single fish was under 2 pounds. There were multiple that were like 4 or 5 pounds that followed it in. So like I totally get the allure of it. But that's been the only day where I've been like, dude, this really could be a PB catcher. All the other times, I think maybe besides one other time when I had like 2 followers, I haven't had anything. I haven't seen any followers. I haven't had bites. And that's like, I'd grind for a couple hours and like, I got to switch. I got to do something else.
Yeah, you really got to commit. Yeah. And also a lot of people that fish.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Big swim baits. I mean, I also think they're fishing out of the boat a lot more than they're fishing from the bank.
For sure. Yep.
Not saying that you can't catch big fish on swim baits from the bank, but I think that's
big swim bait level. Would you say 6 inches or bigger? You said.
I think like once you start getting into that like 6, 7 probably is like when like you see the river to see 168. That's kind of like to me a small swim bait.
Because I'm just going back and thinking, if you remember that one time, we stopped at that one little pond off the side of the road, and you're like, hey, is there anything here? And I was like, oh, last time I was here, there was dinks. And then you got all cocky and you were like, oh, there's this monster. And you had it on and it spit the lure right at the shore. And I went back a couple of days later, and I want to say that I was throwing, just a
like
plastic bodied, like 5-inch. Yep. And, just like Hellbass said, it's like that thump of when it hit it. I was like, man, I just hit a log. And I'm like, oh my God, I didn't hit a log. Like it was such
this log's moving.
Yes, it was such a different feel. And, I was thinking like, man, this has got to be a big fish the way that it, it smoked it. So I could definitely see the allure of it. I'm just scared to do it because I don't want to toss one. I break off way too much to
same. Yeah, and I think that's the same for bank guys. Is I'm not going to go out and throw $100 swim bait when literally first cast I could get to a thing, a snag out there that I can't get to and it's gone. Like
I'd go after $100. I'd dive in for $100 swim bait.
Well, let me get that on video. You do that.
I was going to say we got content in the works here. Like
done.
Dersh, my guy Dersh. Never ask for donations. Anybody that throws them in, appreciate it a ton. It goes to giveaways and stuff. I don't have a giveaway ready tonight. I literally just got back like 15 minutes before the live started. But Dersh with the 20 bomb, he said, hey, Debo Dizzle, hello. Glad I catch the full live stream tonight. I know usually you're working nights. I appreciate you jumping in, man. I genuinely enjoy listening to you guys talk tackle. I can tell you all know what you're talking about, and I learn quite a bit. Well, I know enough to be dangerous, Dersh. I am no pro, but I am for sure a gear nerd, and I love talking about it. Like I said, dude, fishing keeps me sane. Literally going out. What the hell is that? Going out and fishing, talking about fishing stuff. Like it literally keeps me sane. Working on videos, as much as it's a grind. Bobby Miracle said caught more fish on a spinner bait without the trailer. Yeah, like I go back and forth. You definitely don't need a trailer on a spinner bait. That's how far I am behind, I think, on a lot of this. But I think I see a lot of the stuff. So overrated. Who was that? Small water charters. said the wife caught an 8.7 yesterday on a bruiser bait big jerk. Damn. I would love to have one of those right about now.
Well, you're breaking up. I didn't hear how big that fish was. Let's move on.
Rob, my guy Rob Harrison, another good supporter of the channel, says I actually have gone swimming. Oh yeah, Rob, I took a screenshot of that. That's gonna go on my Debo lure page. He sent me a screenshot of like his pile of clothes and like wet socks and stuff, and then like my lure that he got back is like I actually went diving for it. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, don't do that. Oh, that's crazy. But I appreciate it, man. That means a lot that people would jump in and swim after my baits. I appreciate that a lot. Let's see. My guy Great Bad said I've gone swimming for an S waiver, so for like $100 swim bait, you can call me Michael Phelps.
Yeah, I saw that one. That's good, dude. Like you made me that one. This black and you probably can't see it. It's a black and blue squareable up there, and you're like, dude, just throw it. And I was like, no, you can pay me another one, but I'm not gonna throw that one. So I could totally understand that. I wouldn't hesitate to probably go in after one like that.
Gene says some lures are getting really crazy. Ducks, beavers, birds, spiders, dragonflies. Dude, yeah. So that's like one company. I won't even call them out. I think people probably know, but
DEBO'S
a lot of
got a duck. I know
crazy.
of.
Oh my gosh, that's actually what is that? That's a Weston duck or something. It lasted like half a cast. And it wouldn't even
leg
float.
ripped off and
man, I don't know. So like Burley and I had this conversation. I think the lunker hunt, and I think everybody probably knows a lot of the stuff's lunker hunt stuff. I thought the spiders were stupid, and I know a lot of people that like them. Like
you got the baby spider, you got the miniature spider. Like
I
the
don't
one
think there's two different sizes. Let me look.
There definitely are, because the one that you got, I don't even know what a size of. Oh, so maybe the one you got is the size of maybe like the circumference of a 12-ounce can, so like a can of Coke. But then there's a bigger one that's
I must have got the two.
Bigger.
There's a 2.25. It can't be that much bigger.
I think it is.
Versus 0.25. That's 0.25 inches bigger. I don't know. So yeah, it's the lunker hunt. I had the Widowmaker, the like the black and I'm not sharing. Oh, come on, Debo.
Get your.
I had this one. Like it looked cool when I got it. I'm like, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. My problem with it was, I guess I had the smaller one, the 2-inch. My problem
was really like, windy that day too.
I tried it a couple other times, dude, and to me it didn't consistently float. Like it looked cool if you brought it across the water quick, but I'd rather have a frog. I feel like you can do so much. The hooks were so small, you couldn't, like it was so light, you couldn't really throw it on like a regular frog rod. So you'd have to have like a lighter braid combo. One of the legs broke off and I never even caught a fish on it. So I'm like, I think I had 2 of them, but I don't know. Birds, yeah, what's the one? There's the bird that does like the walking thing, like a pompadour. Is it chase baits?
Well, there's the bird. There's a bat I've seen. I don't know if I've seen a bird.
Yeah, there's a bat. That's Savage Gear, I think. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? Any of those, are they overrated? Yay, nay?
Yeah.
Do some of them
I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think honestly, even frogs that look like frogs are overrated. Like most of the time, I'm just throwing a black frog. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't think you need all that. You know, whatever. Like,
thing or that like makes, a frog with those stupid bouncy legs.
A floating frog really good isn't because it looks like a frog. It's because it's a silhouette. It's a small compact target. The way it's designed, it's good for hookups. When you start doing like all that crazy stuff, all you're doing is putting appendages and weird things and giving them places where the hooks aren't to aim at and things that are, you know, they try to headshot it or they, you know, the wings or all that stuff, legs get in the way of the hooks and you're just going to miss fish. Like a fish is not looking at it and going, oh my gosh, that's a duck or that's a weasel or that's a, right? Like they're looking at a size, a profile, the action, and they're going to either come up and hit it or not. And you know, the new frogs these days, or the frogs that the hollow bodies, are so effective at hooking fish that I don't know why I'd want to get crazy with all that other weird stuff. Like
I would agree with you, except for if it's a mean old pike and it's a baby, it's a duckling swimming across the water. It knows the duckling and it's going to eat it because pikes are jerks.
That's just what we hope. Just because I don't like.
No, those are geese.
Yeah. What'd you say? Oh, duck. Yeah, I don't.
Ducks. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like, and yeah, Rich is right, and that's the thing that people will get into, you know, conversations about that, because like at one point I agree to a certain extent. Like they just see emotion. It could be mimicking a bluegill. It could be mimicking a frog, a little mouse, anything that's scurrying on the top of the water. That like Rich said, the bass isn't going to look at it and determine, oh, hold on, is this actually a frog? I don't eat fish. I don't eat other. I only, it's reacting out of instinct and going to hit it. But the clear water you get into, like if they get close to it and they're kind of on the edge, would that make a difference if you were throwing something that was more lifelike versus not? I don't know. Like, I think that's interesting to get into those conversations, but
see, I know the big thing with that Weston duck that I got. Like, I was like super stoked on it. I was like, this duck looks awesome. I'm gonna get this and I'm gonna throw it. And I started out, and it's probably just the bad lure I got or whatever. But the part where the hook comes out, it ripped, so it was constantly filling with water. And then I start to think about it a little bit more. Is I want those longer appendages hanging out the back. I don't want these two little stubby legs that are just like, a quarter of an inch on each side. I want something a little bit bigger. I want a bigger target for the fish to come after. And, ultimately at the end of the day, I think Debo stole it from me because he really wanted it or something like that. I'm not sure, but I know I don't have it anymore.
No, it's this stupid frog that keeps getting passed around between our trucks because he keeps hiding in places and I keep finding it. Let's see. TJ's in the house. What's up? What up, Jim? Yo. So what's good, fellas? Rich, thanks for answering questions too. That's very nice of you to do that in the chat. I appreciate you, man. What else do we have? Chase baits, yeah, walking bird. Oh God. Chris Russ says Pokemon topwater lures equal underrated. Yeah, I knew when those come out. I'm like, I can't wait for the videos to start rolling of those.
Have you seen any yet?
I was never a Pokemon guy, so
I wasn't either. Yeah. Let's see. I see somebody said Debbie Downers in here. All baits are overrated. They all suck. Laugh, laugh, laugh. No, that's definitely not the thing. All baits are not that way. That's just the topic of tonight. Lures and gear that's overrated. I know one other thing I had written down. The JDM gong is weird. Even just the JDM stuff I was going to get into. Like, do you feel just because you have to pay so much more? It's if you don't know, the JDM, like the Japanese domestic market lures that are only sold over in Japan that aren't really readily available here. A lot of them are more expensive. I'm not going to say all of them. I really haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet of only buying JDM, like new weird crazy stuff. But I know a lot of people that are like, oh, I only fish JDM stuff, and it's like, or that's the majority. I'm like, really? It's stuff they've never seen. You just catch so many more fish. And I'm like, maybe to an extent. Like, I agree with showing them something they haven't seen, but I don't know. Ooh. So I'm not sure. Yeah, the JDM gong. I've actually got. Do I have that?
What? I don't even know what that lure is. What is it?
It's like a gorilla. Like it's a gorilla looking, like rounded. Hold on, I'll grab it. I think Rich is grabbing some stuff here, but JDM stuff. You see some of the JDM stuff coming over. Let me jump over and find. I'll share here real quick.
So while you're looking for that, I don't know if it's JDM or not, but it's like a giant tadpole, whatever those things are. You know what I'm talking about?
Giant tadpole? I don't know that I've seen those.
Yeah, I'll try looking one up here real quick.
Here, let me get to the. I had a couple donations. We're going to come back to the JDM gong. JDM stuff. I think Rich might have some there that he grabbed for us. I like this. I like the show and tell. My speech teacher in which was one of like my favorite classes. So it was like presentation, that kind of stuff, which is funny because now I kind of do that stuff. But public speaking, and then like debate. But he was always like, instead of telling them what you're going to tell them, show them what you're going to tell them, right? And it's like it's simple, it's stupid. Like he would always preach that and tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you told them. Like if you stick to that when you're presenting stuff, and then show them what you're going to tell them. So anyway, Rich, what do you got?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like back in the day, I was about the JDM. So like back when I was like young and impressionable and in my teens and early 20s, like Lucky Craft was JDM, right? Like Lucky Craft is the original JDM. Like it was hard to get. You had to like not many places carried them. You had to order them off like eBay or like weird tackle sites, right? And I was all about that JDM life for a while, and they do mix. There are a couple baits out there that are really good that are probably worth getting. But as a guy that likes to fish tournaments and like wants to be like, I would hate to fall in love with some weird little crankbait or a topwater or a bag of soft plastics and catch the fire out of them, and then have a tournament, and then not be able to get them for that tournament. And then I would just play with my head. So there are some cool stuff out there. There's guys that love. It's just like anything, like JDM stuff, the Bait Finesse Empire, the Tiny Boat. Like there's all these niches of people that just get into stuff, and that's great. I mean, if that fuels your passion and makes fishing even more fun for you, then that's awesome, right? It's almost like, I don't know, foodies, right? Like there's just like there's subcultures of like food and fetishes, if you want to call it. I mean, like, they're almost like bass fishing fetishes, right? Like JDM, Bait Finesse, and big swim bait culture, and people that only fish with 4-pound line, and like
the preamble to my the whole live tonight was, listen, a lot of this is going to be preference and my opinion on it, because if you're, well, I've talked about that before to everybody, is fishing is what you make it, right? How do you enjoy it? If you enjoy sitting out with a bobber and a worm on, I can't stand sitting in a lawn chair doing that. Billions of people love to do that, like that's the way they go out and fish. I can't stand it. I have to be doing something, but I'm not going to say it's wrong, or it sucks or it's stupid. It's just some of the stuff I think is over it. So a lot of it's going to be, you make a great point. Like, figure out how you like it. And if you're in that JDM life, if that's what makes you happy, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just,
if you like that in your mind, knowing that you're probably the only person at the pond or lake or river that day that's got that bait.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that's true. I mean, I say that a lot too, show them something they haven't ever seen. And that's going to be the case with a lot of that. Kyle Skaggs with the 20 bomb. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Just showing some love for you, cuz you guys are great, sir. You are great for supporting the Debo Fishing Addiction and channel.
I mean, the Doritzo Yellow Magic Popper is one of the few poppers I will throw, but you can get them, right? There's about a handful of stores that sell them in the U.S. So as long as I can get it, I don't mind the JDM stuff, but I don't like falling in love with the niche stuff that only drops and they get a shipment in every 6 months and you have to, that kind of stuff. I'm not into.
Spend half a paycheck to stack up on them and make sure you have enough. There was another, where'd it go? One other donation I want to make sure I got to. I seen it go through. Here we go. Frank said, should I go out with a musky spinnerbait and try to find some bass at my favorite pond tonight while listening to the live stream? Dude, if the choice is either fish or watch DEBO'S live stream, go fish. Anytime you can get out and go fish. Ooh, yeah, look at that thing. Is that a Super K?
It's a Super K musky clacking.
Dang, that's a big dog.
I've never thrown it, but
I threw the the Angry Dragon from, I think it's Chaos Tackle, I want to say, like a big musky chatterbait. Mm-hmm. Dude, that thing will run your arm numb, but it's cool.
Debo, you just want one of those lures you can go with.
Oh, dude, yeah. Yeah, these guys that you see in, like, I think it's, I was going to send you a video of it the other day. I think it's peacock bass. This dude was reeling his lure in. He saw like 2 fish dart up at it, and he was like running it back and forth real quick next to his boat and had like 2 peacock bass that looked like destroyed it right next to his boat, and then just angry about it. I still want to catch a fish like that.
The lure I was talking about is the Yum Dancing Tadpole. I don't remember what the topic was, but that's what I was talking about. Oh, maybe that look like different things, or these things, I don't know. They look like they would be horrible. There's way too much lure and not enough hook.
Let's see. Pike and Tackle said, oh, $25 crankbaits? Cough, cough, mega bass. Yeah, dude, there's a whole like thing of people on, I was going to say the like the Vision 110. There's guys that swear that is like the be-all, end-all jerkbait. I can't afford them. I think I have one. Dude, it's hard for me to. Rich, are you in that? Are you in that lane?
It's a good jerkbait. I got probably a dozen of them. But at the same thing, like I think the Megabass 110 is a great jerkbait, and I think it's expensive, but I think it's a really good bait. There are other Megabass lures, to me, like the Pop Max and some of their other lures that I think are completely overrated.
See, there we go. Even within the same, like I was a Lucky Craft pointer guy, still kind of expensive, not as much. I could get those on sale around here. Lucky Craft pointer, then like the 6 cents, whatever it's called. I've been using that in a few years and actually
Provoke.
Provoke. I've actually been really happy with that, for, still not cheap. And I think they're still like what, $8 or whatever, but better than paying, $20 or whatever a 110 is.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to expensive lures. Like I like the Megabass 110. I like the Jackal Rio range. I like Vixens. I like Yellow. Like I rarely throw a topwater that doesn't cost more than $15.
Yeah, in certain situations, I completely agree. But like a crankbait or something fishing from the bank, I just can't rationalize that. Topwater, absolutely. Like, even the Whopper Plopper for a lot of people, they're like, I'm not going to spend that much. And honestly, that's why I didn't for a long time. I'm like, it's a gimmick, dude. I love that thing now. Or
a jackhammer.
Well, again, though, fishing from the bank. If I had a boat, if you have a boat and you have a lure caddy thing, like one of those pole deals, you can get pretty much anything back. Like it's pretty rare, like unless you're fishing deep rock or something. But like if I'm, going on the bank, beating the bank with my boat and stuff, you can pretty much get most stuff back. So to me, that's different. Like I would tempt fate more in a boat than I would do from
100%.
What else? If you guys are seeing anything else, feel free to call it out.
I just wanna say, we talked about this a little bit before Debo, and we were starting to get into it, and then we kind of almost went away with it. Overrated, but I've definitely changed my mind since then. Is going to be a spinning combo.
Oh yeah.
Like honestly, when I was younger, it was like, yeah, I'm totally gonna throw in my 2-piece spinning combo in the trunk of my car with my little tackle bag. I'm going to go out and fish something that's way too big for the 10-pound line that I'm throwing on it. And this is a dinky little rod. And, then I got to the point where I'm like, oh man, I totally grew up. I got a 7-foot, 2-inch St. Croix Triumph spinning rod. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing big things now. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, bait casters? What is this? And I totally essentially shunned the spinning combo altogether. And if it wasn't until, you being annoying and saying, oh, look at all these fish I'm catching on this spinning combo, doing all these spinning combo things, like I probably still would be in the I'm just a bait caster type of guy versus I'm gonna throw that annoying spinning combo into my truck and have it get tangled up with everything else, but still I'm going to throw it in there,
They are the root of all tangles.
Maybe you should join the bait finesse empire and you can throw your finesse baits on bait casters.
Yeah, dude, yeah, that's a whole other can of worms to open up. Hellabass is poking the bear there. You have some bait finesse guys knocking on your door, they'll find you. Yeah, but I don't even know what to say to that. Yeah, and Dizzle, who were you trying to kid? It wasn't multiple bait casters. You literally had one bait caster combo that had a jig on it, and that was the only thing you fished. And you're like, Debo, if you're doing anything other than a jig, you're doing it wrong.
Oh my God.
Hey, Randy, we should try throwing this. You're like, other than jig? No, idiot, that doesn't catch fish. All right, let's see.
Jigs and jigs and jigs, and then a swim jig, and that's
yeah, right. I can swim my jig. Oh, who was that? Was I on Baxter's? Was that Baxter telling me about that floating jig that was made out of like an acrylic? Who was I talking to about that? It was on the live, I want to say. Crap. I was gonna get one because they were saying, who was that? I'm having a complete brain fart now.
Go to your let me do some searching here.
Okay. Nathan Riggins, thank you guys for all you do. You've helped me gain confidence over the past 2 years with frogs and jigs, finesse jigs. Oh, that would be you, Randall. You got to head to bed early. Take the old man fishing at first light. Dude, that is awesome. Get out and enjoy that time because that's time you'll never get back. Go enjoy fishing with the old man. Thank you very much for the donation, Nathan. I appreciate that.
Your chat is crazy.
I know. I can't keep up. I literally can't keep up.
I'm used to like my lives with like 50 to 80 people, and I can keep up with the chat. Like
I know it's insane, but I love it. I love that people are here. I'm trying to get to comments and stuff. Fat Boy Fishing says Gary Yamamoto is the most overrated bait out there. No way. This should be almost $8 on Tackle Warehouse and 9 to 10 at bait shops, dude. So, and this
I
is
would say
like,
overpriced. Is overpriced versus overrated the same thing?
Okay, yeah, I think we're in the realm now. So, Rich kind of talked about it. Like, if it gives you confidence, if you're throwing that JDM bait that might cost double what something that's similar to, you get a Bass Pro or whatever. If it gives you the confidence to walk out there and be like, dude, I know I'm going to catch fish on this. Nobody else has it. I can't say that you're doing it wrong. Kind of the same thing with like the Yamamoto, right? Like I've thrown it and it's like it flat out does catch fish, but I would agree with Randy. I think you nailed it. It's overpriced. I wouldn't say it's overrated because
they work.
Yeah. I mean,
they work for a fish, maybe two.
Rich, thoughts? What do you got?
Yeah, I think the Yamamoto is a great bait. I think if you're going to fish them weightless, maybe then the Yamamoto could be worth the money. But if you're going to put on a shaky head or a flick shake or anything where you're going to add a weight and alter it, or you're going to drag it on a Carolina rig, flip it on like if you're going to fish it like a Texas rigged worm, then I think you lose all the advantage of the original OG Yamamoto. Then I would definitely go with like a General or a Yumdinger or name your other 10 favorite stick baits out there.
Yep.
The Sixth Sense. There's a lot other baits that if you're going to put a weight on it, there's a lot of other ones that will do almost the same thing or maybe even better. But if you're going to fish them weightless, there's a time and a place for the Yamamoto.
Yeah, and it's like, and I've got into this conversation with I don't know how many people about Yamamoto and Guggen and some of these baits where like it seems like if you get that really good salty, like weird texture to it, and you know what I'm talking about, like if you pull them apart, like you can tell they're just loaded with like this weird salty, I don't even know how to explain it. Like they just have their own really good, and I'm not saying Guggen is the best action or anything, but like the baits that have that, and it's like you have to weigh durability because you take some of these Senkos out there that are super durable, but literally they just kind of float and they have no action. They just kind of suck, right? They're just kind of cheapo. There was one I can't even remember the name of it, but they were horrible. And then you pick something like the a Yumdinger that's kind of in between, like it catches fish. So I don't know, but it feels like there's some of those really salty lures that you're kind of giving up that durability for like a weird different action. I'm not saying there's something else that couldn't replace it. Like I'm a huge fan of the Sticko. I think Sticko is the best bang for your buck when it comes to stick baits. But again, if that gives you the confidence to go out there and be like, dude, I know I can catch fish on it, who am I to say you're wrong? I don't know.
But you're gonna have to talk to whoever you want to talk to. But I'm not seeing anything about a floating finesse jig or a floating jig that
I
isn't.
forget who it was.
Okay, yeah.
I think it was
I'm
Baxter.
interested, but
Tanner with the donation. Debo got me hooked on the plopper, 6-pound PB. Well, hell yeah, dude! Congrats on the PB. Did I see 10 Horse Monty is in here somewhere?
Yeah, Gabe's in the house. Yeah.
10 Horse Monty. I need to get you on a live. We need to get together. Hit me up on Instagram. Remind me. We're gonna get 10 Horse Monty on a live. He had me over on his channel. I appreciate that. So I will for sure get him on a live here.
Gabe's a good dude. We actually fished together back in June. Or May, end of May or June. It was good.
Yep. He stood me up to go fish with you. So that was nice of him. Oh, well, sorry.
Rich has got a boat, and we'd be fishing for sure.
No, that's completely it. And I was going to say it was a great decision because you guys smacked him that night. So
yeah,
I'm not mad at that at all.
I think we each caught a 5-pounder that night. So
damn, dude, I'm not mad at that at all.
It's been years since I've got a 5-pounder.
He said it was kind of rushed too. He could have been using that as an excuse. That's fine. Next time I see him, I'm just gonna kick him in the shin. I'm kidding. Let's see what else we got. Hellabass. That was he talking about. Everyone is throwing a frog though. Okay, Stoney's dead. I don't know what that was too. Yes, frogs are awesome. My frog is my jig. What's yours, Rich? If you can only have one, I know for sure Randall's like a jig. If I could only have one bait, for me it's a frog. What is your like? If you can only go out and throw one bait, what is it?
Jigs for pigs, Dizzle.
Oh, that's right. I knew that. I forgot.
Frog would be my second choice.
Hey, see, dude, we can all just get together and go to a jig spot and then go to a frog spot.
Yeah, no, but with Debo, it's going to be like, we're at this frog spot. Let's stay here forever. Never.
Dude,
why would we leave when they're
fish?
Oh, I got to blow up. Let's stay here. It's okay, Debo. It's 3 days later. Can we go to the jig place now, or we're just going to stay here with the frogs?
See,
Yes.
you'd like going with me, Dizzle, because like a lot of times I like to throw frogs around like docks and overhanging limbs and trees and bushes. So like, and it works really good when I go fishing with some of my buddies. Like I'll throw the frog up front, and then they can mop up with the jig or the Senko or whatever. And because like I'll get a lot of the bites, but you rarely get all of the bites with the frog. Like there will always be some fish that just won't come up and eat the frog on a dock or a overhanging tree or something. So.
Somebody mentioned Omnia. Actually, funny enough, I have never ordered from them. Rich actually told me about them a long time ago. And Mr. Bass, I haven't seen him in the house tonight, but he's also another good channel. He does a bunch of unboxings. He's a gear nerd like us. We did a tackle swap, and he sent me a box from Omnia because he's like, I can get it to you quick there. And he likes Omnia. So I know, Rich, do you have a code? Do you have a code with Omnia too that you can share with these beautiful fishing folks?
Yeah. It's Hellabass Summer 15 right now.
Boom!
You guys want to check out Omnia.
Is that saving 15%?
15%. And
awesome.
Honestly, they've got a bargain bin up now online that it's got some Fritz sides, it's got some OG Slims, it's got Hack Attack jigs in there, it's got sexy frogs. I mean, like, that's just like off the top of my head. Like, most of those things are marked down like 20%, and then you can use my code on top of that. And
damn,
basically get a whole bunch. Like, it's not just like your typical like Fleet Farm bargain bin where you're like wading through like
that's
walleye fireball heads and old weird plastics to find like one good thing. That's like all legit.
Fleet Farm, so fun. Love doing that.
It is, but like you don't have to hunt. Like, it's like everything on there is like, you're like, I maybe should.
It's like Easter egg hunting for adults.
Until you find those really good-looking Daiwa Gary Yamamoto worms that you buy them, and then you're like, oh man, they're Yamamoto, so they're gonna rip instantly, and they're Daiwa, so they're just not gonna work right. So I wasted my money.
Tyler, what did Tyler? Yep, there they are.
Yes,
the fat Nico or whatever. Yep.
Yeah, I was throwing those weightless just because I didn't have a Nico rigged up, and throwing them weightless, and I caught like one or two bass and only used like 3.5 packs of them. You know.
Tyler, so yes, it's funny that you said that. I looked right at Rich. And Rich, what is okay? So hold on. Have you tried Omnia? Yes, I've heard good things about them, and they do like a handwritten note. I thought that was cool. They put it in my box. Yeah, tried it about a month ago, and they did great. They have a good clearance. Oh, right there, good clearance session website. Boom. Rich, what is the deal? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you order by 1 p.m., they ship that day.
Oh, nice.
And I'm guessing a lot of people in this chat are Midwest. So I'm guessing like you order on a Wednesday at lunchtime, you're probably going to have it on your doorsteps Friday before the weekend starts. Free shipping over whatever, $49 or whatever.
That's cool. Yeah, I've heard they're kind of growing. Okay, what is the story? I don't know that I've asked you. What is the story with cutting your hats into visors? Why are you such a visor guy?
Honestly, it's because this thing is... My buddy Bill jokes that it has its own atmosphere or hemisphere or like asteroids or moons, like because it's so big it has its own gravitational pull or something. But yeah, most hats just don't fit me. Like the Richardson 112s, they fit okay, but the average hat just like when I put it on my head, it's like sits like that, like super high, and it's
so you want like a deep hat, right?
Yeah, but I honestly like the visor because like I don't have to worry about sunburn in the top of my head.
You want something that comes down like to ear level, or that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, I like
that you're rocking. Dude, visors used to. Okay, here's talking about something that used to be cool, and people are bringing them back. Dude, I remember visors used to be the deal. You're still rocking it. I admire it.
So the one thing is like you can always get like hats for free, but nobody gives away visors. So it's like I'm not gonna go out and buy a visor. Like I'm just gonna make a visor.
Bring that baby back.
And it's like functional because like you can like tuck your sunglasses right in here and I never lose them. Like you set your sunglasses on top of your hat, you're playing with fire. Like they're going to fly off. You're going to like turn your head on the boat. You're going to like whatever. So the other thing, going down the lake, throw this bad boy over the shifter. Or if you're a you put it over your arm like this. Like
So
now you're trying to sell the
gotta
visor
say,
like Rand Dizzle's trying to sell the cargo shorts.
So I mean, cargo shorts are amazing. Shut up, Debo.
Hey, I'm on that boat.
I like cargo shorts. You can get a lot of Cinco in your cargo pants.
I gotta say, like, with this brand hat specifically, I've had an issue with, throwing, like sunglasses up on my head like this, or vice versa. If I have my hat forward, up like this, any small, tiny gust of wind will take my glasses and throw them directly onto the ground and scuff up the lenses, and then I gotta go buy new lenses for it. And I kind of really like the idea of having a visor. However, I don't have the hair for a visor. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
either
problem.
going hat, full hat, not just like a, like a trucker type of hat. It's got to be like a full bodied hat, if that makes sense, or no hat at all, because I don't want that weird looking tan line.
If you wear a hooded sun shirt, you can just throw the hood up and cover the dome.
See, I guess the thing, and Debo knows this about me, is there's a 199% chance that I'm probably never going to use sunblock or anything like that.
Sunblock on.
It's terrible, and I probably should do it more often. However, I'm just not really that conscious of trying to protect my skin from the sun. So I guess that's why I go no hat the majority of the time. I used to do a bandana tied until one faithful summer day out on the river for like 9 hours, and the top of my head was purple, and I had a terrible white line across the entire head. So,
okay, Philip. Now that we've learned about Randiz's purple head, Philip, are high-end rods overrated? I use a quality reel and a top-end line. I think this lets me get away with a $100 rod. I think I'm making up with great line. That's actually something. So the tough part about me for trying to explain rod sensitivity and is X amount of dollars rod better than a $100 rod, like a lot of it's feel. And I'm interested to see what you guys say, because even if a rod isn't as sensitive as another rod, if it feels really good in my hand and it fits my hand and is just like, I literally don't want to put it down, I'm just as confident with that, because I'm a line fingerer. So I always have my finger on the line, like on a reel like this. If I'm fishing a jig or any sort of bottom contact, I've got my finger here where the line comes out, feeling the line. And I feel like that's a big part of it. But it's so hard to be like, okay, this $150 rod versus this $300 rod. How do you conceptualize that and put that into like something that people can use? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can say, yes, it's more sensitive, but how much? Is it worth $150 more, $200 more, $300 more? What do you guys think? Rich and I do a lot of higher end stuff, and like, where do you? It's not worth it.
It's not worth it unless it's worth it to you. Like, honestly, $100 reel, $100 to $150 rod is all you need. Like, there's really diminishing returns once you get past that. Do they get better? Do they get lighter? Do they get more sensitive?
I was going to say,
better balanced?
Weight's a big thing you pay for too.
Yes, but are you going to catch more fish? No, probably not very often. Maybe some of my bottom contact rods I'm willing to spend a little more on, but there is no justification for an NRX or a Dobbins Ecstasy unless you just want to have it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a car, right? Like a Camry or a Corolla or a Hyundai is going to get you to work the same as a Camaro. But a lot of people like to have Camaros and BMWs, and right. So it's really like, is it a little more comfortable? Is it a little more lighter? Is it a little less fatigue? Yes. But like, are you going to miss bites on a Dobbins Fury that you would have felt on a Dobbins Extreme? Not very often. Like, but if you really enjoy fishing and you like the experience and you like, the little less fatigue and right? Like, there's really diminishing returns above $100 to $150. But not saying that if you like those rods, I mean, I have plenty of them. So like, I'm not trying to be the kettle calling the pot black, but like, it's just like anything.
For the longest time, my jig rod was Abu Garcia Vendetta. And I remember when I first got it, I got it because I had a gift card somewhere, and it ended up being, I don't know, 50 to 75 bucks, and maybe it was a 25 or $50 gift card. So it was like right in that range. That was my jig rod, and I swore by that. I swore by that thing for the longest time, and then Debo cursed me and like broke the tip off or did something weird to it. And ever since then, I've gotten new jig rods, and it just doesn't feel the same. I don't know if it's like a total mental thing, but I'm totally cool with doing that range, like $100 range rod. I think it's perfect. You could go the bigger. I have that St. Croix Avid X. I never use it. It was probably one of my more expensive rods, and I would choose, like I said, that Abu Garcia over that.
Dude, a lot of it's feel. Like I'm telling you, even if it's like perceived to be more. Again, I say perceived because there's people I've argued with online of like a more expensive rod that I've used. I'm like, oh, I think it's more. And they're like, no, like that rod sucks. So I'm going to say perceived as more sensitive is comfort, like feel. Like there's rods that I put in my hand and they just feel so good that I'm like, dude, I can feel anything with this. I feel like I'm connected to it, as opposed to give me $1,000 rod that if it doesn't fit me and it's not comfortable, you're not going to want to pick it up. So another thing that I've seen in the comments a lot is scent. What do you guys think about scent? So this is something that I wanted to test. I grabbed like 3 crawfish scents. I don't know where they're at. I just had them. I was looking at them, but it's something I want to test more. And it's like something that, because I feel like there's so many factors to when you go into a spot. Is it placement? Is it bait placement? Is it bait action? Is it like, there's so many different things. Like unless you had an actual controlled environment, I feel like it's so hard to test.
So are you talking scent solely, or are you talking scent/dye? Scent and dye?
I would say scent, because dye is going to change the color of it. So if you have 2 baits, one has nothing, is just regular plastisol, versus another one
I don't
have
know if I've.
To me, this is like anything that smells fishy and like stinks, like power bait.
Okay, so you like a coffee scent then also?
I don't have as much like confidence in that. I like that. That's by far the coffee scent's my favorite to smell, but like something that smells like, to me, this smells like dead crawfish. Like if you have a crawfish bucket and like you have crawfish that die, I've had that happen before. Like this smells literally like dead crawfish. Power bait does to me.
I've never gone after a scent other than just, I guess, the coffee scent on the Rage stuff. Just because I think it smells delicious and I kind of want to eat those myself.
Dude, I agree.
2, like I just feel like there's something about coffee, and I don't know if it's like the generations and generations of the old men out there fishing on their little tiny, aluminum kayaks, and throwing the last bit of the coffee out there, and the old bass eating it and passing it on to their baby bass. I don't know, something like that is something that maybe plays a part into it. Whatever that one that you were really digging on, that one of the last times we went out, Debo, and it smelled like popcorn, burnt popcorn and disgusting shrimp was, my God.
Seafood popcorn, the G-Crack stuff. I think that stuff smells good. It smells like seafood popcorn.
There's some scent that I don't even ever want to use just because I don't want to have that stuff on me, and that's one of them.
Yeah, it stinks. Rich, what do you think? Do you put extra scent on? Do you feel like lures that have a strong garlic scent? Do you think? What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't think it hurts. So there's that.
And that's the same thing I fall into too. If I have 2 of them and one feels really like a power bait versus something that doesn't have it, I'm like, it can't hurt, right?
Yeah, I think there are probably some occasions where a scent or a max scent or whatever is going to get you 1 or 2 more bites per day, or maybe it turns a pecking fish into one that actually bites enough that you can get a hook into it. But I think if you're talking smallies, then I think it matters a lot.
Really? Okay.
Like smallies, max scent, gulp. I think there's just too much evidence not to suggest that smallies don't really key in on scent a lot more than largemouth do.
Okay.
Gulp Alive, is that kind of. I remember those being a huge thing back in the day. The Gulp Alive, you always got them in the plastic with all the sauce in there. I remember buying. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Now scent dissipates. So do you have any like scents that you like consistently re-add to it, whether a spray or like a creamy whatever stuff? Like, because I never do that. I mean, I never put external scent stuff on, like spike it. But for me, that's more of a color thing. And like the garlic is just an added bonus. Like I like that it smells garlicky. Does it catch more fish? I don't know. I feel like the color does. Colors I have way more confidence in than like smell, scent.
Sometimes if the bite's really tough, I'll play around with like adding some smelly jelly or some what's that other one? It's like a red gel. Well, I've got a couple tubes in my belt that I'll play around with. And sometimes, like if I'm sitting around like waiting for blast off in the morning, I'll go ahead and like dab a little bit on each one of my like jigs or things just to like, hey, a little extra. If nothing else, sometimes I think like a good scent can mask an unwanted scent from your hand.
True. I guess I've never really thought of it that way. And
so if your hands are full of beef jerky and gasoline and nicotine, you can maybe cover that up with some other stuff.
Yeah, I know. Just don't ever let Debo get anywhere near your, the little jars of Spike It, because he's going to hand it back to you with the lid 1/19 of the way on and like really aggressively push it towards you and spill it all over your hands.
I may or may not have.
One I was thinking of, I think.
Yeah, I may or may not have spilled Spike It all over Randy. Sorry, brother. I love you. Here's some that I got.
Yeah,
I got
Liquid Mayhem. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, Liquid Mayhem. I got some. This one I actually like because it's like a lipstick thing, I guess you'd call it. Like it's.
I was gonna say, is that like a balm or like a icy hot type of applicator?
Damn, this stuff is wow. But it's like like lip chap stuff. Whatever you put on lips.
Lip chap.
Lip balm. Is that what it's called? Chapstick.
No,
there we go.
Dizzle can put it on his head if his hat comes off. And
hey, is that shiny enough? Dude, that stuff stinks. But what he was showing, you could put it on like crankbaits. It's what is it? A KVD fish stick, crawfish. So like, I thought that was kind of interesting. You could dabby up some crankbaits and spinner baits.
So where would you put it on a crankbait? Would you put it on the bait itself? Would you put it on the hooks?
Just the tip?
Yeah, I would. Oh no, I get all over it. I top, bottom, all over it.
So, Debo, let's be honest, you don't.
Do you like? So those are called fish sticks, right?
Yeah, it's called fish sticks, bass buster. I don't know what.
Did you guys ever see the South Park episode? It's like,
oh god,
yeah.
Do you like fish? Do you like fish sticks? Dude, that show got away with so much stuff. I remember back in the day, like it used to be when we were in high school. Dude, we cracked up with that stuff. And then Liquid Mayhem. Rich was saying it's like a red. Now, interesting. This says, talking about dissipation, this says it lasts for 30 casts. So you don't have to apply until 30 casts later. And then
what was that? What was that one you just held up? Was that a
it's like a gel,
like you said? Oh
no,
so
this
like
is like a gel.
Or?
Yeah, like squirt gel type
like
stuff.
Like a toothpaste type of thing?
Yep, like toothpaste. And then bait mate. So I remember back in the day, I don't think it was bait mate. I think it was a power bait stuff, but I had like a crawfish back in the day, of course, because I was trying to get any advantage I could over my damn old man that would always outfish me, was like the power bait and like a little squirty, like, I don't even know what you call it. Like it wasn't aerosol. It was like
a pump.
Yeah. Like a pump, pump spray. I couldn't find any of that stuff, but this is bait mate Ultra Craw, but this is like an aerosol type thing. Precision spray, crawfish scent, and fish pheromones. That was a thing.
I was totally waiting for you to accidentally spray that in your face just then while you're looking at it.
How much donation do we get right now if I just go?
Stop. You don't want to do that.
No, I'm kidding. Please don't put money in. I'm not doing that, Tushin friends. There's some other channels that probably would jump over theirs, but no, I'm not doing
So hey, I know you and I both, Debo, have used, or at one point in time at least used, what's it called? That the stuff that's more like for line management.
Line conditioner.
Like line conditioner. What was the one that we used, Debo?
Real Magic. Yeah.
I know that that didn't necessarily have like a fishy attractant smell to
Yeah.
it, but
So does
I
that
know a lot of
mess with the
people
bite?
said, use it on the skirts to make sure that your skirt doesn't get all tangly and stuff like
Does
that.
it
So
stick?
I know I've done that before. I've never really noticed a whole lot of anything, but I tried it. It was worth a
What
shot
else do we
anyway.
have?
I
I don't
started a
think
whole separate chat conversation about.
Dude,
fish
I know
sticks.
it's
Hilarious.
it's going off the rails. Like I said, I wish I could keep up with everything. They say oil-based scents can't work. I see all kinds of stuff in the scent stuff. Max scent doesn't make a difference for me. Zooms Linky out fishes at any time. Yeah, like so much of it is literally just confidence. Like I don't care what you say. So much of fishing is just confidence. Like if you have confidence in it and you put that bait in the right places, and you're like, I don't care what this is. Like I can. Dude, so much of it. Let's see. I did see a
I noticed
donation.
I did see. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I think
I was
Tomcat.
going
I
to
don't
say
think I missed anybody. If I did, call it out. I'll look at the bottom
I
of the
was going to
chat.
say I noticed somebody made a comment when I brought up the Gulp Alive stuff. They talked about offshore, like saltwater. That stuff works like amazing out there. So I don't know if there's what the difference between the two is. Maybe it reacts differently with like the salt versus the fresh, or whatever it may be there too. So
Yeah, I don't know. Like I
application.
can't. I don't know. Like I'm not. I've heard. Maybe I need to have like an actual fish biologist or somebody on here that like has dove. That would be cool if I could get somebody into that stuff like that. No, really, like can fish
Like
smell? Like people ask that, do that? I don't know. Like
yeah,
I've
it's
always
like,
heard that they do. Maybe that's
is
a
it
myth.
real that fish don't have good memories too, or is that
Yeah,
like just a goldfish are stupid and they don't
I've seen that,
remember?
dude. I've seen fish literally that I've caught like twice in a day.
Like, but smallmouth, you will like throw in on a smallmouth on a bed, and that smallmouth will continue to come after you, even if you've hooked it and you've put a hook through its face and he spits it. You throw it back in there enough, it's going to bite it again, regardless. And if that's like a largemouth, you put a hook in a largemouth and it's going to go away and it's probably not going to bite again. There's a better chance than not. But a smallmouth, they're just jerks and they'll just get out of here. What are you doing? Kind of leave me alone.
Robble.
Right.
Top Cat with the donation says, my anniversary today. Did dinner, picked up the kids from the parents, came home, boiled a couple of frogs for the morning. May have skipped a step. Did you take the legs off those frogs, or are we talking actual frogs going fishing?
Yeah, some
Either
people like
way,
to boil the frog bodies to soften them up a little
to make
bit.
it softer, yeah. But I don't know if he's talking about he's actually going to have frog legs and just skipped a step and did the whole thing, or I don't know. Let's see. Oh, here, Joshua Lee said a friend of mine outlaws that stuff on his boat. He'd pistol whip me if it spilled.
I'm guessing he's talking about
Like,
JJ's Magic.
Yeah, JJ's or Spike It, something like that.
I've really gotten to using the markers just for that reason.
The same, yeah. Rainey and I were just talking about that. Like, yeah,
they do work a lot better, and you can get by with throwing like 6 different colors of markers, because for some reason they have 6 different colors of Spike It markers versus I got this huge box that are safety sealed and to make sure it doesn't leak all over everything, of 2 vials. So
Top Cat said no, it wasn't frog legs. Dude, frog legs are good as hell. If you've never had them, good. He was talking about
have 2. I'll take orange and chartreuse. That's all I really need.
Those are the 2 that I use most too. I have a black one too for braid, a black Spike It marker. Hopefully the fish, dude, maybe that's why I've been helping you color your line and they've been hitting your line, not your frog. They smell the scent. Dude, that's it. I don't know. Let's see what else. We're at an hour 15 minutes. Let's take a couple more questions. I know you boys are probably busy. And I know everybody watching it. I can't believe we've got 265 people in here still. Y'all are awesome. Absolutely awesome. Love y'all. What else? What do you all have? Let's do 3 more questions. I don't have an awesome giveaway or anything, but
it's not a question. It just go up to Chris Russ's comment, not too far up from the bottom. I don't know. Does it show a time?
Mine does. Can you tell? You can't even.
I can't tell time.
Snapping turtles?
Yes.
Snapping turtles will come back for your topwater frog that he already got hooked on. Freaking jerks. Yeah, dude. I don't have a good track record with snapping turtles either.
You did wrangle that one day though.
Dude, I did. I wasn't gonna let it keep my Tokyo rig.
It was a Tokyo rig.
That's the only thing I've ever caught on a Tokyo rig. I couldn't just cut the line and leave it in that turtle. I got it out. And I figured if it ended up
12-pound line managed that, I don't even know how big of a turtle was that.
At
least 12 pounds.
Yeah, it was 15, 20 pounds. I don't know.
It was huge.
The other thing is, I'm not gonna leave. I think it was 15-pound line, but I'm not gonna leave it in there. And I figured if it bites a finger off, like that'll make a good video. Not even clickbait. Like turtle literally bit finger off. Cops called, ambulance. Like, dude,
I would have shot it. Don't worry.
a million views right there. All I had to do was lose a finger to get 1 million views. Done. Okay, let's see what we have for questions. We'll pick a question. All three of us will answer it, and then each of us is going to pick one. So be looking out. Everybody in the comments, give a good question. We're going to pick one, then all of us are going to answer it. If you guys see one, go ahead and call it out. I'm looking to see what else we got out here.
I got one right here. This is a good one. Shady Banks. What's y'all's go-to lure on the dog days of fishing?
Shady Banks. What time was? Oh yeah, you can't tell time.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't. How do you see it?
9:14. Because I'm looking at the StreamYard, and you're only looking at the YouTube, I'm guessing.
Oh, I don't even see it on the
StreamYard. You're on your
StreamYard.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Okay, so go for it, Randall. That's your question. Take it.
Well, I'm going to throw a jig. I mean, throw a jig, or really, like a wacky, not even a wacky, probably just like a weightless, something slow, something that I'm really going to have to tell myself over and over and over and over and over again to slow down, slow down, slow down. But really something that I have the ability to fish multiple ways or methods. If I need to like maybe burn a jig a little bit, if that makes sense, I can pop it quicker. Or if I need to let it set, I'll do that. But that's really, something I can get in there, especially like underneath some trees, some overhang, and some shade, and some cover if there is any. Definitely, that's my go-to.
Like it, Rich. What about you? Dog days of summer. What have you been throwing?
So, assuming I'm fishing in a boat,
okay,
in a lake with grass, I'll fish a jig worm with a stick bait like this Yum-Dinger on like a 1/8 ounce or 3/16 ounce head. Fish it exposed, fish it on the weed edges, depending on the lake, could be 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 feet.
Now, is that a Ned rig or is that a shaky head?
That's what we would call a jig worm. So I'm going to fish like a full 5-inch stick bait with a full size. I mean, like this has got like a 2/0 hook in it. So yeah, comparatively to a Ned rig, right, would be this. This would be a Ned rig. This would be a jig worm.
So you're saying the profile is what differentiates a Ned rig from a
shaky just head? The size of the hook, the head, and the size of the bait you're using. Okay.
This is a whole different show. I'm guessing we could talk for this. I was just trying to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, but like that's just like something I like. Gets a lot of bites, catches good fish, catches little fish. You get a lot of pecks from bluegills, keep you interested and know when you're on perch and bluegills. Cover a lot of water. You can fish a little faster than a Ned, a little bigger presence.
I like it. I'll honestly be, I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting that. I like that. And that's like I've told people back in the day. It was like a mix between a shaky head and a Ned rig. Like I would take old, like I wouldn't say they were crappie jigs. They were like kind of those moon eye almost looking jigs, like the flatter jigs. And I would rig it weedless just because I was fishing from the bank and it was out of necessity. And that was like before shaky heads and all that were
kind of like a walleye jig almost.
Yeah, like a walleye jig with even a ribbon tail worm on there, like rigged with just the hook in it, like a shaky head, out of necessity. So it's funny how that stuff kind of comes back around. Anything else? So the jig worm. What else? Frog. Yeah, you said you've been throwing a frog.
Yeah, I guess if I'm fishing offshore, jig worm, and then if I'm fishing shallow, either a frog or a jig, probably.
Okay.
I'd probably do something stupid and throw something just like that's never going to get bit and somehow get bit on it. I don't know. I don't even know what an example would be, but Debo, I usually get the side eye look from Debo, like, who is this guy and why did I bring him with me when I throw something? But
yeah, I would agree with those. I mean, like a chatterbait, spinnerbait, swim jig, like depending on what you can fish. Earlier on those cloudy days in the shade, Frog for sure. And then I would say like the wacky rig for me has been the be all end all this year. It goes in waves. Like last year, I don't think I even threw the wacky rig. I don't know that I even made a video on the wacky rig last year. Maybe one. This year it's been killer. It was what, like 2017 weighted wacky rig was like, dude, I caught so many fish in that with like a ring fry type worm. So many fish. And then didn't fish it. Same thing for like shaky head. I haven't had a good shaky head year. I've thrown the shaky head a few times. I haven't caught fish on it. 18, 19, destroyed it on a shaky head. Like you could put me anywhere and I'm like, I can catch anything on a shaky head. So it goes in waves. It's funny, but yeah, for sure, favorite's got to be frog. Dog days of summer to me is early or afternoon. I'll grind a whole day frog. I don't give a damn. I just love fishing.
He will.
Let's see. Did you see anything, Hella? So we got Randy's out. Me and Hella need to do
Rich 17 at 917 said favorite jig. Go.
Oh my. Okay, Rich at 917. Where are you? There he is. Rich 17 at 917. Favorite jig. Go. Okay, what's yours? And what's because you're gonna say the bat. What is the bass?
Bass tech. And I'll give a reason why, but I'll explain.
Well, I was gonna ask. Do you like? Is that because have you said before? Is that your company? Do you make those or?
Yeah, so it is my company. But so the Bass Tech,
that's awesome.
Tungsten flipping jig, and so my favorite of those would be the 3/8 Okeechobee Craw. So, which is basically a black, blue, green pumpkin mix.
It's a good color around here too.
It's an Arky style, real compact 3/8. It's got a 4/0 hook in it. So
4/0 gammy.
They're mustads.
Oh, okay.
Because a tungsten head already makes a jig pretty expensive, and if you put a Gamakatsu or owner hook in it, it then becomes a $9 jig.
Yep.
So it's got a little bait keeper on it. These have tied skirts, wire tied skirts, and then but over the wire tie it still has a rattle collar, so it's tied and collared. But just a nice compact jig, Arky, great around wood, great around dock. I mean, it's just all around. You know, I can swim it, I can flip it, I can drag it deep, and I'm going to fish this with either a menace grub or a speed craw most of the time. But this color, and one other color, and then I play around with lightening or darkening up the soft plastics, and that's kind of my go-to jig day in and day out.
Did you say like the Zoom speed craw type thing on there?
The regular Zoom speed craw or the menace grub are my two because I like them because they're compact, but they both have good action. They have good action on the fall, and they have good action like if I want to swim it. So like if I'm like flipping docks, right? Like it's gonna like have good action getting in there, and it's compact. So if you get a, you're gonna hook them. And then if you want between docks or you see a little clump of pads or some grass, you can like throw it out there and like swim it. And so
yeah, I think that's a big misconception with like people like you can't like if you have a swim jig you can swim it. If you have other jigs you can't do that. Like you can swim a ball head jig. I mean, Randy's had days where he's kicked I almost said a bad word, kicked my butt with swimming a ball head jig, So yeah, don't be afraid to swim it back and notice that people will say listen to the fish, right? If you're flipping and pitching, flip, bounce it a couple times, about nothing, and then you're burning it in. Oh, dude, I got a bite that scared me. That's crazy. And you just go back to flipping, only like listen to that. If you're getting a bite, burn it in. Maybe they want a swimming jig as opposed to, just a couple bumps. So yeah, good point. A versatile jig is, I don't have to preach to Randy on that. He loves the jig.
And the Bass Tech is it's only $4.99 for the 3/8. So it's with the cost of regular jigs, they're price competitive with lead these days. So
yeah, that's another big thing too. Yeah, just how much smaller they are. Like if you've ever compared, like a 3/8 is kind of my go-to tungsten most of the time. Quarter or 3/8 from flipping and pitching from the bank. Like if you look at a 3/8 ounce lead versus a 3/8 ounce tungsten, like worm weight, it's crazy. Like the size difference.
Yep.
Randall, I think we already know yours, but
well, yeah. I mean, I was just looking up colors. It's going to be a War Eagle heavy finesse, 3/8, and it's going to be a kind of a crapshoot between like a Okeechobee Craw, the green, blue. I really like. They have a pond scum perch, which is a green with some orange and some blue, right? God, what else is there? There's a wild craw, which is, a greenie with some orange and some black stripes. I like that. Oh yeah.
So this is,
and then
that's a 1/2 ounce tungsten versus a 1/2 ounce lead.
Yeah.
So like,
this
is the lead, this is the tungsten.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good representation for folks. Yeah, look at it there too. Goodness. That's how much more dense it is. Yeah, that's eye-opening for people.
Right.
That's big.
Yeah,
my
there's
favorite
like
jig. Go ahead.
I mean, and then the only other jig is, a DEBO jig. I really like throwing those, although I don't have very many colors of those.
We're still in R&D on those. I've got some kind of. See, the thing it sucks because I need to. I want a heavier wire hook. Same thing that Randy said. I've had some other people tell me that. It's okay if you're throwing on like a lighter bait cast combo, but like the War Eagle has that thicker hook, that 2x stronger hook, as opposed to like the ones that I would make through a do-it mold. So yeah, more R&D on that before I sell any. But yeah, I mean, I would agree. Like Randy really got me turned on to the jigs. As far as like if we're talking a flipping and pitching jig, I've really liked the Luke Clausen finesse jig through Dirty Jigs. It's kind of got a little bit of recessed head. I'm a big fan of that one. It's a 3/16 ounce or 5/16. Sorry, 5/16, which is like my favorite to throw from the bank. Like as light as you can get away with, and I feel like a ball head does really well around rock. Like you can kind of make it work around most everything. Not the best around wood, but for a lot of the fishing jetties and stuff that we do. And then as far as like a swim jig, I think probably my new favorite is going to be that one from Cumberland that I was just testing out the other day. That thing is pretty rad. It outfished poor Randall. Did you catch one fish that day?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I was scared Randall might wrap me in saran wrap and throw me in the lake, never to be seen again that day. It was
in pieces, huh?
In pieces. Yeah, but dude, there's a bunch of them out there. I'm not as big of a jig guy as these dudes, so I would listen to what they're saying over me. But like even honestly, just any sort of round ball head jig, like 5/16, like a finesse jig. If you're struggling, like I've fished the. I don't think I have it here. The Beast Coast. They make their. I forget what it's even called. They're like their hybrid looking little jig. But I mean, finesse jigs. If you're scared of jigs, and like even like Rich and Randy were saying, I think people hear jig and they think like a big, huge mop jig, jig and pig type,
like a
presentation,
pad crashing, go through the scum, big, huge, giant thing. Yep.
Yeah, and like that's not all jig fishing. So I mean, Randy really opened my eyes to finesse jigs because I was always confident with like a swim jig, but like dragging a jig and hopping a jig, like that wasn't my deal. Like just flipping a jig around timber and swimming it back is what I had confidence with. But dude, he kicked my butt so many times I had to get down with the jig game. Okay, so it's my turn. I gotta find one in here. Let's see, one more. We're all gonna go through. Oh gosh, I don't even know. There's so many. Rich, thanks for answering questions out there. Damn, you guys are on it. Randy's answering questions.
I have a lot of practice.
Let's see. Do you like dark? Oh gosh, dark sleeper. Talk about something that I think is overrated. Dark sleeper, overrated. Now again, this is coming from a bank fisherman. I know guys in the boat where to me, it seems like it makes sense. And there's a bunch of people that love it. So don't take my word for it. Go out and fish it. But I feel like that's one that's overrated for me. But I don't fish it from the boat a ton.
I wanted to fish one when I first saw them, but then I saw DEBO try to fish them and
lost 4. And at that time, I think they've dropped in price too. I think they were like $7
they were
when I got them.
Super expensive when you had it. Yeah.
$21 down the drain in one go. Rage Craw, I did see people. Yeah, when Rich was talking about the Zoom Craw, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I know Randy got me turned on to like the Rage Chunks. As far as a trailer, I threw like the regular Rage Craw as a Texas rig a ton, but I'd never really used the Chunks just because I didn't go down the jig.
They just seem like they're the perfect size for me for a jig trailer. The Chunks are.
Here's one. Okay, let's talk about a rig that maybe is not as well known that we kind of use. And I can't even say, I guess, really well known, but maybe something that a lot of people don't think of as much. So Travis said, "Do you guys fish?"
Crappie. Sorry, that just popped up on my TV, and I'm like, that is a massive crappie.
Are you watching other people's YouTube videos on my live?
No, in Travis's picture. That is a crappie, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I was late to the part. Yeah, that is a big
crap.
crappie. That's
I didn't realize DEBO'S so insecure, man.
Well, I knew he said big fish, so I'm like, I know you're watching somebody else's channel. It can't be mine. Yeah, that is a good crappie. A slab, they call it. So he says, okay, do you guys fish free rigs? I'm liking them a bunch. I've wanted to try the free rig. Something that I used to fish a bunch back in the day, and I just called it the poor man's Carolina rig, was either like a split shot, which they call the Mojo Rig, or a worm weight with two weight pegs on it, so one in the front and then one behind it, and you slide it up about a foot. I always called it the poor man's Carolina rig, but essentially just a worm weight, no clacker. I didn't ever got into any of that, but just a worm weight pegged, and I always caught a bunch of fish on that back in the day. So you can Texas rig your plastic, but you throw your weight out there, your weight goes down. You've got the plastic like a foot behind it, so it's like a Carolina rig, a Mojo rig, which is like a split shot rig, kind of a mix. I used to throw that a lot, and I honestly can't tell you the last time I've thrown something like that, either the Mojo, Carolina, or any of those. They are definite fish catchers, especially now, like in the dog days of summer when Dad would go out and drag a Carolina rig. I mean, they're perfect for right now. Slow fishing, dragging. So that's something that I need to try. I haven't fished a free rig. And for any of you wondering, the free rig is where you like Texas rig a soft plastic. Yeah, boom. Rich has one right there. Hold on. Let me make you bigger.
Basically, you take the elongated drop shot weight with a ring instead of like a pinch or anything like that. And then instead of a bullet sinker, you just thread this on your line in front of your hook. And so basically your hook will come, and sometimes they'll put a little bobber stop between the hook and this so it doesn't like catch on your knot. But then basically this weight goes down and then your bait kind of free floats behind it. So it's basically like an unpegged Texas rig, but you're sliding on this ringed drop shot sinker instead of a bullet sinker.
So it's an unpegged Texas rig drop shot, Carolina non-beaded.
Yeah. Very, very well said, Dizzle.
AKA free rig. Dizzle, yeah,
Free
Dizzle.
rig.
Dizzle in the words there. Yeah, I want to try it. Because I've heard from people, and I'm glad Rich brought that up. He's like, oh, it's similar to an unpegged Texas rig, because I fished a Texas rig unpegged. But the difference is when you've got the Texas rig, and I've actually seen, there was a video somewhere, I should try to find it, a guy that threw out the Texas rig, and the Texas rig still does drop pretty fast, and you kind of got the line that flows in behind it. With the free rig, that free rig is dropping straight with no I don't even know how to say it. No touch or impediment. Yeah, no resistance. So it's got a different look to it. I can't say it's like night and day difference, but they definitely did look different. Like when he showed them, more of like a natural.
Yeah, and you tend to throw a little bit lighter, right? So most of the time a free rig is going to be quarter, maybe 3/8 ounce weights. You're going to throw little craws, little creatures, things like that behind it. So you're not going to throw a 3/4 ounce free rig probably, unless you're heavy current or something like that.
So the weight itself is obviously the other big kicker then, I would assume. Yeah,
because you're going to go through just that little loop, which is going to give your line more free than going through a sinker, right? Which has a smaller diameter and you got more drag. So I think
are you talking the same hook also, or are you going?
Yeah, you just would put an offset or an EWG or whatever your favorite worm hook behind.
So a Texas rig, I would be throwing 3-4 EWG. Yeah. So this you'd do the exact same, and you're getting. Yeah,
you're probably gonna throw you're probably gonna throw your standard wire, not your super line hook, right? You don't want a super heavy hook that's going to impede your bait, but something that matches your bait, and probably just a regular wire hook. Probably going to throw it on 10, 12 pound fluorocarbon, something like that.
Have you thrown it much, Rich?
Only a little bit, but I have a few people that I know that like it, and they really like it for smallmouth, but they say they also catch a lot of largemouth on it. So.
Do you put a stop at the end, like a bobber stop or anything?
So some people put the stopper right behind the knot on the hook so that when the ring doesn't get caught on your knot, right? So you're basically just protecting your knot from the ring, not the other way around. You want the
you want the free weight to go wherever it goes, but you just don't want it to catch on the knot there.
You have an infinite depth and swing, whatever, of the weight or the bait, I should say, versus, what the weight is.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So on the initial cast, if you let it fall completely slack, the bait is supposed to separate as the sinker goes straight down. As you kind of tighten up and pull down, and then if you come over a log or you come over grass, the bait will then trail behind it and then kind of fall weightless or free.
More disconnected. Yeah, more disconnected, I would say, when they showed the two in the water. The Texas rig was like, it was, you could tell it was still a different, obviously pegged versus unpegged, more natural looking unpegged, but like, the free rig was very much more disconnected. And I think Rich nailed it on the head. There was less friction. It's got just, that wire thing where the line can literally move everywhere, as opposed to like a sinker where that's not a good diagram now that I'm looking at that.
I could have snipped that one.
Much more disconnected. Yeah, hopefully nobody snipped that. How about you guys? That's one I want to try. And we got a Corn Crawlers with the donation said, Randy, take Debo on some dirty river fishing with you. Dude, Randy loves the river.
I'd love to. As long as somebody in a makeshift pontoon doesn't go by.
That's the thing. That's the thing is we need a boat. We need a boat to hit the river. There's not enough bank access.
God, what was it? Whitney Houston?
Yeah, Whitney Houston. Randy and I joke about that. There was this like half-sunk boat, like it looks like dude made the thing.
No, it wasn't even. It was like 4 to 6 50-gallon plastic drums.
Yeah,
tied
like
to
a
couple of pieces. Thing? Yeah, tied to a couple of pieces of plywood.
Yeah, dude had that motor full bore, and the thing was barely moving, and they were going down the river blaring Whitney Houston. I'm like, and dude was just rocking out. They're
basically just a floating meme going down the river.
It was. Dude, I looked at Ray and I was like, "What is this real life?" Okay, so how about you guys? Last one, then we're getting out of here. So rigs, I don't know where that question went, but are there any like rigs that you used to throw and maybe like need to kind of go back to, or that you want to kind of try?
I would say,
oh God, there's a bunch.
The Mojo Rig is something I used to throw all the time, and I'm just starting to dabble with again. The Free Rig is one that I want to throw more. The Power Shot I've had some success on. I want to use that more. One other one that I've been dabbling with that's been pretty good is using a Tokyo rig in place of a biffle head.
Using a Tokyo rig. So do you reel it slow like you would have?
Yeah. So basically, put like a 1/2 ounce or 3/4 ounce weight on your Tokyo rig with you like the one with just the regular offset hook for this, and then I put like a creature or a little swim bait or whatever on there, and then when you just throw it out and just like you would, right? But because the weight's down, when you're dragging it, your bait's 2 inches off the bottom. So a lot of people complain about the hookups on a biffle head because I feel like it's so down in there, they're like trying to get it like right. So like and then when you set the hook, you got the biffle head, which is a lead, is pretty big. It can bust the mouth open. With the Tokyo rig, when they get the bait, they rarely have the weight in their mouth. So you're almost getting all hookup. Like the hookups seem a lot better. And then, if there's a little bit of slime or whatever, your bait's staying out of it. And then like as far as like with the biffle head, if you're dragging it through rocks, you better be retying a lot, right? Because your knot is basically banging on rocks. With the Tokyo rig, your knot is rarely hitting the cover. So that's, less risk of breakoffs and that type of stuff. And then what was the one other that had one more? I forgot. Oh, the other thing I wanted to throw heavy chatterbaits more deep. Like I wanted to take the queen tackle switchblade and put that on like some 3/4 and 1 ounce jigs and make my own like deep stroking chatterbait thing to play around with.
Stroke it.
The only thing I have to say is I feel like I need just 45 to an hour and a half worth of time to just sit down and try to actually understand half of the words you guys have been talking about just within the last 15 minutes, because some of these techniques I've never even heard of. Like I'm still stuck on a free rig. I want to tie it on and go do it tomorrow.
Dude, I've got some of the water gremlin like egg sinkers. We can try some of those. I call them egg. I guess bell sinker. I guess is what they're actually called. Yeah, I've got some of those water gremlins like the bell sinkers. Dude, we can use those. It's the same thing as like A little bit bigger than the tungsten.
I feel like anything named water gremlin is gonna work.
Dude, water gremlins were the stuff. All right, well, we are already at, dude, we're at an hour 40. We've all answered the question. Everybody, thank you for joining. If you haven't checked out Hellabass, check out his channel. I left his deal below. If you shop at Omnia, like he said, check out their clearance bin. He's got Hellabass Summer 15. Rolls off the tongue there. Make sure you enter that and get 15% off.
We're going to work on shorter codes for the fall.
Yeah.
So
should have been HBS 15 or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't know you had a code with them, so that's awesome. Anything to save some Fish and Friends money. Otherwise, Randall, thank you. Always a pleasure for joining me. And yes, everybody who donated, thank you all for watching, donating. We appreciate you all. So thanks. We're getting out of here. So until next time, next Saturday night. Somebody asked, how often do we do these? Every Saturday night. So
most Saturday night.
Yep. All right, out of here. Bye.